I'm going to force you to look in a certain direction. This is what pulling focus is used for, to bring the viewer's attention to a certain part of the frame. It's very easy and very effective. Today we're talking about two things, and they're both from SmallRig. The Mini Matte Box, which comes at $99, and the Mini Follow Focus, which comes in at $99. Both very reasonably priced for what they are. I've had quite a few follow focuses in my life. This has got to be the best one, hands down. It is very compact, it is very smooth, and a follow focus has to be smooth. It's like walking around with a little stone in your shoe. If it's not smooth, it's that kind of deal, you know. If you have any kinks in it, if there's anything wrong with it, it's basically the worst thing in the world. It's going to be perfectly smooth. I had a Tilta one and I gave it away because it just wasn't smooth. So this one is fantastic, and it's got a few cool things about it. You can use a Cine Crank with it. So it's basically a little crank which looks like this, and you stick it in, and when you put it into the little square, you can basically pull focus with it, and that's really nice. You can also use something called a Cine Whip, which is this odd looking thing. This is from a company called Shoot 35. They used to exist. I don't know if they do anymore, but once again, you slide it in and you can pull focus like this. So it's a completely different way of pulling focus. You can also hand focus, which is probably the simplest way of doing it. And the great thing about this is that it has a marker which you can take off, and you can mark exactly what you want to mark on it. Positions of people, of, well, basically anything you're pulling focus on. It kind of just slips on and off, and it's, you know, cleanable. You also have A and B stops, which means that, for example, if you're pulling from someone's face to a book, you can set an A stop on someone's face, and then you can set a B stop on the book. And you will know exactly where you're pulling to and from, so you don't have to be guessing, you will have it marked. And the cool thing about this, which I haven't seen on hardly any at all, is that you can lift up the stopper and you can pull focus all the way around, which is going to be one of the best things about this little guy. You can also take off the gear here, and you can flip it onto the other side, so you can move it back and forth and you can spin it around, so you're right-handed, left-handed, however you're doing it. I like to pull focus with my left hand, and I have my right hand holding my camera. It just feels more natural. The actual follow focus comes with the follow focus. It comes with a gear that I threw away because I don't like those gears. I bought myself one of the SmallRig gears. Tilta have the same ones. It's basically a piece of rubber that expands a little bit, and you buy the size that you need for your lens. I have maybe about 50 of them because I bought every single one possible for every single lens, as I have a ton of vintage lenses. Now, it comes with the NATO rail, and it comes with a 15mm rod. You can buy yourself a longer one. I have a carbon fiber one that I bought from SmallRig a couple of years ago, and you can make it longer, so that means that you can basically undo it and you can pull the follow focus back and forward. So that's really nice and simple. I'm going to put this to one side now, so the setup looks a little bit cleaner. What we have now, and we can actually take the rod out, what we have now is the matte box, which we're talking about. Now, the matte box is really nice because it's very light. It can take up to about 700 grams, I think, weight on it. It's got a flag. Now, the reason you have a matte box, well, there are really two reasons. The first one is to stop any light entering your lens. So if you look at this example, you'll see exactly what's happening and why a flag is very helpful. You've got like a new one that just came out that's got 3 flags, but this one is more than enough for what I need. So it's got a flag that when you move it, you will stop light entering your lens, creating flares and ugly ghosting and all that doodah. The second point is that you can put filters in it. So right here, I have a filter, which is actually a filter by a company that I really love, and they're called Cine Packs. They've sent me a bunch of filters and I'm getting through them. I really enjoy them, but they've made their first 4 by 5.6 filter, and it is a clear streak filter. It's very nice. It's sweet. Now, all you have to do is you have to pull the filter out, and now you've got this gorgeous filter that you can basically put onto your lens and create streaks with. To get it back in, you slide it in, pull the little notch, push it down, hopefully, there we go, and it is nice and secure. It's not going to fall out there, which is important because these filters are very, very expensive. 4 by 5.565 filters, sorry, are not cheap. They're filters that you use on film sets. It's not cheap stuff. But that's the next reason. Now, there is another little hidden gem about this matte box. Inside, by the way, it's all matte, so there's no reflection going on. The other thing is that you can take a filter, for example, like my Moment filter here. This is a 20% bloom. And you can get it and you can screw it in to the front, right there, right on top of your lens. Actually, on top of one of the adapters, because every single lens obviously has a different diameter filter, which means that you can screw it on, you can put it on, and you can screw it down. So you've got a filter, a circular filter, as well as the rectangular or square, because you can fit a 4 by 4 filter in here as well. That itself, being able to stack filters on this is, that's fantastic. Well done, SmallRig. These, by the way, come in a ton of different sizes. The ones you get with the actual matte box are 77, 72, 67, 82. Sorry, that wasn't in order, but you get those with it, and they all go up to 95 millimeters. So if you have a 95 millimeter lens, you don't have to use them at all. But if you don't, and you have a ton of vintage lenses like I do, then yeah, you're gonna have to use them. By the way, they come in at $14.90, and you can buy yourself an extra tray, which I do have because I wanted an extra tray in case I've got a couple of filters. I can just quickly swap them out without, you know, having to play around. It's very easy to use. It is, as they say, a light matte box. It weighs next to nothing, and it's you know, it's pretty sturdy. It really is. And you can also get yourself one of these, which is a support. So if it's out a little bit too far, it's a little bit heavy, and your lens is really long, you can put it on and you can support it right here. So the actual bit in the middle that screws into the bottom with a 1/4-20, you can move up and down, and you can connect it to your 15mm rod. So that is a fantastic addition. You have to buy that separately, as with the different filter adapters. Now, is this stuff that you need? Well, it really depends what you're doing, and it depends if you're serious about filmmaking. If you are, then yes, I would recommend getting a matte box, even a small mini matte box like this to go with your camera. The larger one they make looks really awkward, and I didn't feel like using that at all, but this one is perfect for your mirrorless type cameras. The larger one is great for your slightly larger, more cinema cameras, but this one is a perfect size, and it matches really nicely with any DSLR or mirrorless camera, so that's something I can definitely recommend. Now, as I said earlier, the focus gears you can pick up from SmallRig, they're $2 each, so you can just grab every single one of them, and they come in a double one. So basically you get a knife and you cut it in the middle and you have two. So that's really, really helpful. So you're basically paying $1 for one. You can put the other one on your aperture ring, for example, if you do have a declicked aperture ring for cinematography. Now, apart from that, there's no vignetting on the matte box at all, up to about 15mm, and the actual flag is made of carbon fiber. So they've done everything to cut the weight down and keep it nice and sturdy. At the top, you do have 4 1/4-20 holes, so you can add some accessories. For example, you can add another arm and put a filter in front of it, like a, you know, an effect filter. There's basically a whole thing, load of thing. Is my English today? I don't think it is. Great stuff. Really recommend it. Very well made as usual, because it is you know, it's made by SmallRig. They do make good stuff, even though they pester a lot. They do pester. They're quite pestery when it comes to emails. Mind you, I did get it a couple of months ago, so they're probably in the right. Links to everything, including the Cine packs and the Moment filters, which are fantastic, and the SmallRig stuff, all below. If you do have any questions about this whole setup, how to use it, or anything else at all, just drop them links below in the comments below. See, mouth, brain not connected. Subscribe down there, give me a like, and I do normally do the